Hello artists! So this is ceramic bobbleheads. This is video 1 of how to make the body of the bobblehead. For the body of the bobblehead, we're going to need to make 2 pinch pots. To make 2 pinch pots, you're going to need 2 spheres that are relatively the same size. These spheres should be a little bit smaller than a baseball. To make a pinch pot, you're going to push your thumb through the sphere and being careful not to push your thumb through the bottom of your pinch pot. When pinching your pinch pot, cup your hand and you're going to spin the pinch pot around, only pinching the bottom of your pinch pot. As you pinch the bottom, spin your pinch pot around so there's an even consistency. You do not want your pinch pot to be thick. You want it to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. About every 2 minutes, you'll want to spray your project so that your clay is not drying out too much. If you notice on the rim of your pinch pot that there are some small cracks forming, you'll need to smooth those out with your finger as you work. Once you feel like the bottom is 1/4 of an inch thick, you'll move your fingers up to the middle of the pinch pot. Do not pinch the rim, just the middle. Once the middle of your pinch pot is 1/4 of an inch thick, you can then pinch a little bit of the rim. Do not pinch your rim too thin. You want to keep it a nice 1/4 of an inch thickness. Typically when I get to the edge of my pinch pot, it's already about 1/4 of an inch, so it just needs a little bit more pinching there. Get some slightly damp paper towels to cover your pinch pot. You don't want it drying out too much. Also, cover the clay that you're not using. Now just repeat these steps and make a second pinch pot. Once you've completed both pinch pots, put them next to each other where the rims are touching. If they don't completely match up, you will need to pinch out the smaller one to make it bigger or to stretch it a little bit with your fingers so that they match up perfectly. Before we put our 2 pinch pots together, we need to make the neck for the bobblehead. With your less dominant hand, you're going to push your middle finger and your ring finger in the center, inside, and then on the outside, you're going to take your dominant hand and you're going to squish just the bottom of the pinch pot to kind of pull more of a cone shape. And this will be the beginning of the neck, and this is how the bobblehead actually can bobble. Now we need to score and slip our pinch pots together. Make sure you use the larger side of the comb and really rough up the clay. Don't just kind of scrape the clay, you really want to rough it up good. As you're scoring, you can pull the clay out of the comb. Take a paintbrush in the slip and you're going to put the slip on rather quickly, and you're going to apply a lot of slip to both pinch pots. Put your pinch pots together and push them with both hands. Now you'll take the clay on both sides of the pinch pots and push the clay over the seam so that you can't see the seam. I like to do this with one of our wooden tools. This tool here is flat and rounded on the edge, and I'm just using the tool to grab more of the clay and pull it across the seam. After I pull it across the seam, I'm just using the tool to smooth it out. Now we need to make a small coil to put on our seam. Place the coil on the table, and you're going to use the palm of your hand to roll on both edges and middle of the coil. I'm pushing the coil down and making it more flat so that way it's easier to smooth out when I place it on my pinch pots. I'm putting it where the seam was, and I'm using my finger to smooth out that coil. You do not want to be able to see the coil, so if your coil is too big, you probably need to pull it off and make a smaller coil. After you're done smoothing out your coil, use a rib on your pinch pots to smooth out everything. Again, you should not be able to see the coil, and you should not be able to see the seam. Now take a little bit of clay, and you're going to make a small but thicker coil to make your neck on your bobble head a lot longer. This coil should only be about 2 to 3 inches. And once you have the right size and you've checked it with the neck of your bobblehead, you're going to score and slip it on to attach that. Make sure that you are scoring to really rough up the clay and not just a little bit of a scrape. Score the neck and score the coil, and then slip and smooth it out to attach. Now add a little coil to the seam to help support the neck and the coil that you attached. Smooth out that small coil to where you can't see it. One trick to really make the bobblehead bobble is to make the end of the neck come to a point. So you'll see here, I'm trying to pull the clay and pinch the clay to make the tip of that neck to be more of a point.